Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave and a bit of a different video on this lovely little Saturday over here. I just wanted to point out a Bitcoin pairing actually that I think is looking rather interesting and also perhaps indicative of well, some greater things within this market. So let's waste no more time. Let's just get into it right now. I want to make this video a little bit more on the shorter side, and that is going to be Ethereum Bitcoin pairing right here, of which we've been following this one for 6 months now, basically ever since it got in this range. And we've been saying, hey, look, this is long-term good, but it's going to take its time. And I believe that this time is starting to really come to its expiration here as this one does start to look once again in a threatening posture. So when I look at a chart like this, obviously this is Ethereum versus Bitcoin. This is not Ethereum versus the dollar, nor is it Bitcoin versus the dollar. It's Ethereum versus Bitcoin. So this does not mean that the base pairings are going to be bullish versus the dollar. However, we do historically see that this pair is bullish when we are within a macro bullish market. And you can back this one yourself. I think it's rather obvious right there. Anyways, first things first, we are working on a weekly bullish engulfing dildo right here. Rather powerful, and if that does get confirmed by Sunday closure, I'll be looking for at minimum another test of your highs of this overall macro range, whether that be between about 7.7 or 7 or basically 8 million satoshis. That's fair enough. I mean, this is essentially good right here. Not only that, but we do have a reaccumulation formation after a massive uptrend in the format of an ascending triangle. Again, just higher lows, so bars are getting more aggressive right here, and I've marked off even those higher lows with those red arrows. Beautiful. Anyways, on top of that, we also do have hidden bullish evidence right here on the weekly, which is still playing out, and we do see that weekly jewel is actually getting another upside signature for the last couple of weeks. So this is looking good. Not only that, but we do see one of the lowest reads that we have seen on weekly. This is weekly, by the way, fucking weekly. If you didn't catch that, weekly BBWP over here. Volatility indicator, of course. So with that in mind, when it gets low like this, it is set to expound. And well, the last time we saw it this low was coming out of your December lows right here before a pretty monumental rally of about 250%. So that's kind of comparable to what we're doing right now. If we go further back than that, I mean, there's several times where it's actually been around this low, but only pumps up to about the 50 percentile. But even then, I mean, these are still rather nice moves. Like, make no mistake about it. This first move over here, 75%, and then, I mean, realistically, just continue on for another 150%. Not bad. Do we see another example over here? Well, that was to the downside, so we'll just ignore that one. Same thing over here to the downside. If we go over to the daily, I think there's actually several more iterations as there should be, and yes, indeed they are. But in the daily has the same setup as well. So we see daily and weekly both showing kind of similar signatures right there. We're very likely looking at a nice move. On top of that, hidden bullish evidence on the daily here too. And what do we have? We have yet again another higher low on the daily. So it was absolutely critical throughout this week that we did hold the 6.9 million Satoshi region, as we have been following up on. Credit to Mr. Jack Asseman for always requesting this one, but it's actually been rather interesting to follow up on. And now hitting our short-term targets to the top side of our short-term range. So I do expect that this one very likely does break above that region, perhaps within the next few days here, and initiates targets back up to our prior highs from basically September. Now above there, that's where the actual formation does complete itself, this being an ascending triangle, and does have a technical target all the way up to about 9.6, 9.7 million satoshis. Do I think that things would stop there long-term? Probably not, no. I mean, look at the long-term right here. This is like breaking above your macro regions, right? And we could come up with some with some, or no, I do not actually have it right there, but we can, if we want, and I do want to, come up with some continuation targets on a break of that macro range, of which we'll do it right now. And what do you know? A break of that, and this is not going to happen all in the same day. It's going to happen over months, because we're on a fucking monthly right now, by the way. But be looking at, general moves back up to the 1 spot 272, which, what do you know, is right around our last prior all-time high on a closing basis. And then above there, the order of operations is I'd be looking for like a major, perhaps macro high at about the 1 spot 618. And then above there, I mean, things can get crazy, but that's, so far away. It's not worth talking about right now. But of course, no trade idea is not complete without an invalidation point. And in this case, it's very simple. Below 6.9 million satoshis on that last higher low, yeah, it gets invalidated. Until then, looks good to me. Anyways, what else do we see over here as far as momentum oscillators go? Oh, what do you know? Daily Stokes rejecting the bearish controls and then popping back up, and will remain with upside caution as long as above 7.1 million satoshis. Volatility on the ground as well, so perhaps we might have volatility, trend, and momentum all on the same side. I think we already kind of see the BBWP turning, and I do happen to trust that one a little bit more than HVP, although both should be, very similar, to be fair. Weekly, Weekly's freshly crossing up, by the way, as well, above 6.4 million Satoshis, so looking good. And monthly is also just a grind up above 6.8 million Satoshis. So all higher term timeframes are bullish. Short term timeframes probably going to be flipping floppy over here, of which we can maybe just quickly chart them out. You know, is it ready to break it today? Probably not. No. Do we pull back down to like 7.2 million Satoshis first? Perhaps yes. I don't have a strong opinion on that. I mean, shit, we can come all the way back down to the prior range lows. As long as it doesn't break below 6.9 million Satoshis, I do like it. So if we are looking at the 4 hour right here, we saw volatility get somewhat high, not super high, but you know, do we find a little bit of a short-term local high over the weekend and then look for continuation coming into this coming week, again upon validation above that 7.4 million Satoshi region? That's kind of what I'm thinking right now, is this one is a little bit more in a pullback posture right now for the very short-term time frames. Going over here to the hourly as well, can we see? Actually, the hourly is probably going to give another try back up there. Looks pretty damn good. You know, maybe I hold off on the short-term timeframes here. They don't really need to be done too much in detail, just because the medium and higher-term timeframes are so, you know, strong here, really. Anyways, does this correlate well with Ethereum price? Well, you know, Ethereum did put in almost a bullish engulfing dildo right there. In fact, this is technically not a bullish engulfing dildo right here, because you need to close above the high, not just the open of the prior dildo. But in this case, this is a good signature anyways. Even if Ethereum can be back down to 4,100 alongside, you know, Bitcoin planning a pullback over the weekend, that'd be fine. I'd actually be looking for bounces around about 4,100 or so. But we see the same sort of thing over here, you know, volatility ticking up. And on the 2-day, yeah, this one's closing tonight. The 2-day will actually have a chance to put in some hidden bullish evidence here as well. I mean, we haven't put in anything resembling a downtrend just yet. So in this case, I mean, going all the way back to our last higher low, which was right here, and even the more obvious ones like back on over here. I mean, we're making obviously significantly lower lows on 2-day RSI already. So if it did put in a hidden bullish evidence, that'd be a really, really good signature for Ethereum. Probably would bode well for Bitcoin as well. I mean, because the whole market kind of moves together with each other. Well, perhaps we see a nice little move up from there. Again, needs to kind of confirm tonight, obviously, but the obvious one would be above 4350. If that happens, then no shit. I mean, this is not just another higher low, it's hidden bullish evidence, and probably looking at moves back up towards 46 plus, you know, over the next week or two here. If we do close even above about 4230, just the open of the prior 2-day dildo, I would say that's probably going to be good enough as well, but it wouldn't be, you know, your textbook definition of it. So all of that's going to be confirmed tonight. 5-day closes tomorrow alongside the weekly. You know, not terrible right there just yet. Weekly, same thing. I mean, weekly could actually very easily pull itself through, but if it does close, let's say below about 42, that might be a little more problematic, as we will have some nasty bearish evidence right there as well. So I think a lot's going to be decided within these next 48 hours right here. Even a lot just in these next less than 24 hours, in fact, as well. So with all of that in mind, I just thought that Ethereum Bitcoin pairing was rather interesting right there. Again, short-term time frames like a 4 hour. Could we come back down and grind out like 41 or 42? It's completely fine. Again, I'd be looking for bounces on a pullback around those regions. And, you know, for what it's worth, I think that Bitcoin probably does pull back. So the Ethereum Bitcoin pairing, you know, probably plays a little bit off that as well. If it came down to like 7.2 million Satoshis, that's completely fine. Like I said, it's all about the daily right here, and the daily higher low is 6.9 million Satoshis. So I think that is a good place to shut this one off. Where does this one lose its macro good posturing? That's very easily had below about 6.4 million Satoshis. I don't think that's what's happening right now, or at least if it is going to happen, probably not today. But if it did happen, that would destroy its long-term good posturing. Until then, I think the weekly is like the most obvious chart right here, and quite good. Hidden bullish evidence, weekly jewel, weekly volatility on the floor, as it does put in a bullish or almost a bullish engulfing dildo right there. Probably going to like that. So hope this one serves you well. Just wanted to put a few odds in this chart, as I'm sure a lot of other people out there are kind of always comparing Bitcoin versus Ethereum. They're always thought of as like, you know, number one and number two, right? And in this case, Ethereum, you know, looks like it's going to hold its value better than Bitcoin here. And if we are still within the context of an upwards market, which I think macro we are, then I expect Ethereum to outpace Bitcoin by, you know, a good margin here. Again, I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist, although I'm probably a little bit more in that camp than not in that camp. But we're just looking at charts right here. And that's what they show. So I'm going to be sounding off on that. I want to wish you well. Take care and see you soon.